don't like necessarily what your boss tells you, but you take, you know what I mean, but you take it. So, with that said, we do have a team coming here over Christmas time. A good friend of mine is going to bring his team from New England down. They're one of the top teams in the country. This will be the 4th time we've done a training camp with them, and man, our results have been lights out every time that we have done that. So we will be doing that. Relative to meets and schedule, especially high school wise, there's one thing I want to talk about. We are going to do, it's a royal pain in the butt to get meets scheduled with us. And it's funny how it works, because quite frankly, nobody wants to swim us. Okay? Now I laughed this year, but all of a sudden I started getting more requests for meets than I ever had. I must have saw the kids graduating.
Yeah.
Now, okay. And I laughed about it, but one thing that became crystal clear to me, I do a lot more than watch just the races. So it became clear to me at a mid-January meet that the kids don't need, or excuse me, we know how to really practice well together and all that stuff, but we don't know how to be together as a team at a one-on-one, mano-a-mano meet. Because we hadn't barely done it. Because again, we couldn't schedule it. Nobody would do it with us. So note to self, we need to have more meets. We're going to have a lot more meets. Some of them are in stone, some of them are still in negotiations where I'm trying to get it so it's better for us. But we are going to have more high school meets. We should tell them about the party.
I was just thinking that. We are going back to the Macaulay Invitational.
Something I said I would never do again. That was on the never do again list, but
it's back on that we're doing it. It's just necessary. Our kids need to race as a high school group more, just like what he said. And the other thing, just the demographics of the group is, in my mind, it's wonderful in that we've got a lot of the same. We got a lot of the same, kids very similar. Makes it very, I need as much information as I can so I feel great about the decisions that I make relative to who's swimming at what events, this and that. And competition brings it out. So we're going to try and put them in as more competitive situations this year. And I think that's going to be a real plus. I don't know how many ever years ago it was, but I looked at Laura, I was like, if I ever come back to this, shoot me, well, shoot me. Because we do need to. We do need to, so that, like, that's fun. And I was with him, like, okay, yeah, we're never doing this, but we are doing it. The diving portion of that is on Friday night, which is November 16th. The swimming, and it is prelims finals, is on Saturday, November 17th. That is the first Saturday, the first day of Thanksgiving break. So we will figure that out. We have told school that we have a meet that day. But when you're planning, if you're boarders.
And for boarding students, we have the okay to stay in the dorms that night. We jumped through that hoop. That was another reason why I didn't like the meet, because it was tough. It put the boarding kids in a tough situation. Now they will be able to stay in their dorm that night. That has been.
Are those required? The high school meets, are those required?
Yes.
Yeah.
Majority of our club meets, we kind of keep them here. Again, we run them, we've got the facility. Nobody's going to hack up a lung.
On the high school meet, I'm so sorry. Is that a one-day meet?
That what
Macaulay
we were just talking
Invitational?
about?
Yes.
So that would be, thank you for letting us know. So
Yes.
is it here at Baylor?
It's across
It's
town.
across town.
Okay, so
But it's in Chattanooga, yes.
On November
So-
17th.
So
Yes.
your kids could fly out as early as you want on
Sunday.
On
Sunday.
the 18th.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the state meet is in Nashville this year, and it's
8th, and 9th. Yes, I'll send all this out. There will be a schedule posted online as well too, but just some major dates that we know
I
of.
get more emails than you know. Any other questions?
So the high school meet schedule will come out around October?
No, it'll be like the second week of September at the latest.
Yeah,
When we
it's
finalize all
almost
this.
solidified. It's all during Christmas break. And that is, I will tell you, that is such an important time for your kids to be here. When we get back from that, we are already thinking about state, and state gets here in a hurry. That's a month away, and that's basically taper time. If you miss those 2 weeks of training, that's really hard. If you're a boarder, make sure they're in the water at home. They gotta train, and they gotta be doing something. Yes.
They cannot stand it.
They'll be actually beforehand,
From time to time, we work out state stages with the family. Part of it, and now that's something I've been fighting with because there's no we tried it once, we were all over it. How many ever different see what I mean?
They get out of school on the 21st, so Christmas is on the
It'll be a mix. It'll be a mix. It'll be a mix.
And you know, Dan has written many practices for kids. If they just have a pool at home or whatever, he can write the practice for them. Happy to do that.
If you remember Coach Ed, who was here, the first year he was my assistant, he came up to me and he's like, because he had just seen the results from afar and us doing great at state, blah, 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 breaking national records, all that jazz, and he comes up as he's about 2/3 of the way of our first year together, and he says, wow, this is way harder than it looks. And I laughed at him, like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you've got them doing great. And there's the awkward pause, and then they vanish for Thanksgiving. They don't come back better, do they? He's like, no. And then they vanish, that's the word I use, but they go home for Christmas time. I'm like, they don't come back better, do they? He's like, no. And I'm like, and then we got to put Humpty Dumpty back together again with a quick crash course for that second weekend in February. Now, it's not that gloom and doom, but it opened his eyes to, wow, there's a lot more going on here than we originally anticipated. And I was like, yes,
and if
yes,
you
there is.
are, like we understand, I mean, it's Christmas holidays and whatever, you may be going to visit family or whatever. Let us know that in advance, what days. We have found pools and teams to practice with everywhere.
And
So,
I am, especially if you're a first year boarder, I am enormously go home.
yeah.
Go home, be with your family.
Yep.
Go home. We understand it's a big leap and a big undertaking. And the farther away, the bigger an undertaking it is. So,
For Thanksgiving, they can stay in the dorm just for
that
not beyond that.
correct. Fall break, spring break, they can stay. Winter break, they can stay.
Fall break, winter break.
Fall break and
not
winter break.
spring
That's-
break. Yeah.
That's something we've been balancing.
Yeah. What's winter break?
Not a question, more comment. As we get into Christmas break and the practices get longer, you guys can stay engaged with the dining facility. Even if we just have a breakfast burrito or something, I know Heidi and a bunch of other boarders said they'd get there, and the only thing left is a thing of
They
fruit
don't have time to
and half a banana.
take the class.
So even if they could just make a single breakfast wrap for the kids
but they do get out of practice all year long and plenty of time, and especially in the mornings. But the thing is they go in the locker room. I mean, I've been there, lived it, my kids lived it. I watch it all the time. They hang out in there for a while, and then they mosey on up to the dorm where they've left their uniforms, and they get dressed there. They should change here. Shower, change, go straight to the dining hall. But yes, we are always in constant conversation with the dining hall more about dinner, so I'll put breakfast on the radar as well too. So we can work both sides of that.
40 parents complain about dinner not being out for the kids, especially when we have competitions. We complain all the time. It falls upon deaf ears. Y'all complain. Maybe they're less deaf ears.
If our meets, whether they are here or away, if they are running past the dinner time, I do make sure they're fed before they go to the dorm. So we order pizza or whatever, Zach's Pizza, I've done all kinds of things for them. So they get fed before they get sent back. They don't get sent back to the dorm hungry.
On fall break, you said you did want them to stay here?
They can. Fall break, they can. The dorms are open.
Do you?
Yes, we are training. Yes. So
That's Thanksgiving.
Fall break is October.
Yeah,
It's
in October.
made it
just because I'm getting
short. It's a long weekend, so it's kind of whatever you want to do. But we are.
Because I'm not
We will have our
starting
regular
anything, so-
scheduled training.
Okay, so they will not train Labor Day.
So since you touched on the food aspect, what about nutrition and putting that component in for my son especially?
We started that. We started that this summer, and we are going to build on that with the daily. What'd you have for dinner? What'd you have for? That was like a question I asked
Every
He
day.
did.
every practice.
What did you have for breakfast? What did you have for lunch today? We do
Like
talk
I know
about
that your family is a big fan of El Matate now because of that. You know, I see these. Lydia is always an interesting one to ask.
Where was today, Toto?
Aiden's another one who's there's like not a set answer. What did I hear? What did he say? Some kind of soup, and I was like, I've never heard of that. What is it? There you go. Yeah. Gotcha.
I will tell you that yogurt-covered pretzels are not exactly what we're looking for fuel at the meet. I've seen that this summer. I was like, what? But we talk about it.
And I'm going to have my normal rant session with the dining hall. The powers that be here about the dining hall, but you know.
But there are 4 lunches. The kids have choice. It's just like us, so we try to help them make it.
Breakfast is tricky. Breakfast is the one.
That's the hard one.
That's the hard one that they're, you know.
For the orders that when you have meets they have to travel to and they need to take food with them, do maybe local families help out with that because they can't exactly make their own pasta salad and stuff like that?
Walmart bus. Walmart bus, they could go and try to stock up on some things.
Yeah. So what
Not
we
very
tell.
healthy choices.
So what we tell them, well, we give them a list
Okay.
of here's what you should eat,
Okay.
here's stuff to bring, get it at Walmart, get it at Whole Foods Wednesday night. The nice thing is Laura and I have both been, neither of us are now, but we've both been dorm parents, so we've lived that life, and we get it. And it, you know, it takes a little while to figure out that planning in advance is really good. But once they do.
Can I
Peanut
make a
butter sandwich
suggestion?
goes a long way.
For any new parents, new boarding parents, if you are doing your sign off for who your kids can ride with, make sure you say other students because that helps too. If you've got an older swimmer who says, "Hey, I'm going here. Let's go and get stuff for the meet this weekend," and then they're allowed to go, but you have to sign the permission that they're allowed to ride with other students.
Christina?
Do you anticipate doing one of the December meets, like Winter Juniors or Winter Nationals?
We're going to do one or the other.
Okay.
It all depends on what.
We need to plan for something in
In
Correct.
December, yeah.
Correct. Again, this is the earliest we've had this, so some of the things aren't quite as nailed down as they. He's like, what are y'all
Why are
doing
y'all in here? You're not
Why are y'all
supposed
in
to be
here?
in there.
That security guard just walked by giving
He
us,
turned the lights on
giving
in
us the
there.
stink eye. Why are they? Anything else? Any other questions? Well, thank you for taking
Thank
time.
y'all.
I know Sunday midday is not ideal. I got chastised home about that.
You gotta go.
It's my son's
Be a
birthday, so
birthday.
he's like, cake, let's go. That's the eat. I see it, let's eat it. So, if something does come up, because I'm sure on my way home I'll be like, dang it, I went to talk about this and I forgot. Just shoot us an email and we'll get back. I will be out of the country the 16th to, I have it red-eyed it back the 28th. So, I don't even know what kind of internet I get in the future.
Yeah,